Hello, guys, and welcome back to another edition of Talking Baseball with the Earle brothers. My name is Nicholas Earle, joined here as always with my brother Tim, and today we'll be breaking down an article that was posted 2 days ago by Jeff Passan predicting potential matches for certain players or your top 30 potential trade targets.
He did 50, but they only did explanations for 30, so we're just going to do 30.
We'll do the top 30 for that. And we'll give our opinions on where these players potentially could go and things along those lines.
Yeah, I kind of figured it to be a prediction video. We're each going to give one team that he's going to go to.
All right.
Whether and an option like the first one up is Alex Bregman.
Mm-hmm.
The 100% you can go and say he's not going anywhere.
Yep. You want to get up the article? We can start breaking it down. The first one that he has on the list here is Boston Red Sox third baseman Alex Bregman. A 10% chance of getting traded. This one was pretty simple for me. If the Red Sox were a little bit lower, because they're like only a game or two out of the playoffs right now. Like they're a team that's still fighting in the wild card race in the American League. As we're recording this video, they're 2 games out. They're 40 and 42. If he wasn't hurt, I think this is definitely a better trade candidate as well. Because he could opt out at the end of the season, but I think he stays in Boston. I don't think he goes anywhere here. Alex Bregman. I'm going to say Boston Red Sox.
I 100% agree. By the way, I already kind of me and my coworker. It was a very slow Monday or slow Tuesday when this article came out. So we're like, screw it. Let's all put in what we think.
Yeah, I'm just going to shoot from the hip.
So I already have my predictions from a couple days ago, and I agree. I'm going to stick with my prediction. So. And I will say my buddy was on him staying in Boston as well. So it's a full sweep for Boston.
All right. Then we'll move on to the next one. No need to break down Bregman too much. Jarren Duran, another Boston Red Sox here, says about 25% chance of him getting traded. I don't see him going anywhere either. I'm going to say he stays in Boston. And I'm going to say he stays in Boston because I think the Devers trade solidified that he was staying where he is. And I'm not going. And if he's going to go anywhere, if he goes anywhere, he's going to be a Padre. But I'm going to say Red Sox. But if he does get traded, it's to San Diego.
If he gets traded, it's to Philly. But I'm going to say he stays in Boston. I think, once Devers got traded, although I'm still not really sure with this Boston Red Sox team. What they are, because I know
they should extend him. They shouldn't trade him.
I agree. I agree. They shouldn't trade him, but he's got like 2 years left of arbitration or whatever. Dude, you shouldn't be trading him yet. I think it's about a 5 to 10% chance he gets traded. He stays in Boston.
Yeah. Well, we can move down to the next one. To the first one, I think actually will get moved. Sandy Alcantara for the Miami Marlins. He's starting to pitch a little better as of late. He started this year off pretty rough, and you see that sometimes. Players coming back from Tommy John surgery, it's just like they're trying to figure out their mechanics again, things along those lines. There's a long list of teams that would definitely be interested in Sandy Alcantara. He will not be in Miami after the trade.
I agree.
I promise that there. It's just where will he go? I think when you're looking at teams that can put together the best type of package and will be interested in a player like this, I'm going to say Sandy Alcantara will be a Los Angeles Dodger. After the trade deadline, I think that they can throw together a decent package, whether it has like an Alex Friedman in there, or whether there's a Dalton Rushing in there, or there's a Zaire Hope, or they've got they got a really strong minor league system that they can create a really good package for Sandy. And one thing we've seen with the Dodgers a decent amount this year is they continuously need starting pitching. So for me, I think he's a Dodger.
All right, good. We get to disagree for the first time in this video. And I will say I'm looking at the from when me and Cam put it in. He said that he would go to the Yankees. I say he goes north side. I say he goes to Chicago. I think he's a Cub. And I think that this is one of a couple pitchers that the Cubs can go after. But I think Sandy Alcantara is the perfect outliner to be a Cub.
I think I had another player on. Here's the thing: I would have put him on the Cubs, but I think I have another player on in this article going to the Cubs as a frontline starting pitcher.
The thing is, I could see multiple pitchers going to Chicago. I see Chicago being very, very aggressive. But I think if Chicago's going after anybody, it's more rental pieces.
I could see that as well. But
Sandy Alcantara would definitely be a piece that I think that goes to the Chicago Cubs.
All right. Next one.
Freddie Peralta.
They give him about a 20% chance of being traded. He's one of those weird ones where the Brewers are in a wild card spot right now. I think the Brewers can be in a playoff spot and he still gets traded. Like, I could definitely see this as somebody where I believe he has another year or two of control. I don't think he's a free agent at the end of this year.
He has a $8 million opt-out for 2026.
Yeah. Which he's
going to opt out.
Yeah.
He 100% should be opting out.
I think it's a club option, so I don't think that's true. So I think that'll make him pretty valuable, actually, heading into this deadline. The question is, do the Brewers trade him? I wouldn't be shocked if they did. Because when you look at that rotation that the Brewers have without him, Jacob Mizorowski looks really good. Woodruff could be potentially back in that rotation soon. Chad Patrick's been throwing well. You got I'm trying to remember the other guy's name that's been pitching really well in that rotation.
Jose Quintana's been good.
Quintana's been good, but he's hurt. But they have a really good rotation. I don't know where he would go. I'm gonna say he stays with Milwaukee. I don't think he goes anywhere, but it wouldn't shock me if he goes somewhere.
I had him staying in Milwaukee. And I'll say chance of trade 20%, 5%.
Yeah, no, I think
I don't see him getting traded at all in any stretch of the imagination. As the only way I see him getting traded is if Milwaukee went and lost 10 out of 12.
Yeah,
and sunk themselves. But you got to keep in mind, I'm pulling up the standings. I believe Milwaukee's 3 games out for the division on the 26th.
Yeah.
That's a team it's because of the Milwaukee Brewers that the Cubs want to buy so early.
Yeah.
Because the Cubs mentioned that they're going to be getting a pitcher within the next 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
So I think he stays right put in Milwaukee.
All right. Head to the next one here where we have Eugenio Suarez. This is an interesting team here, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he's not the only Diamondback we're going to be talking about on this list.
Yeah.
And they give him a 50-50 chance of being traded. I think that's a little higher. Right now, the Diamondbacks are 2 games over 500, but they're 3 games out of a wild card spot, and they have to jump Cincinnati, St. Louis, San Fran, and San Diego.
But I believe they have a very favorable schedule to end June into July. Because you look at what they got next, Miami. They get division rival San Fran. Kansas City has been struggling. At San Diego and at Angels. So they have a okay schedule to get right back into it.
I think the Diamondbacks sell at this deadline.
I agree.
And I do have a team picked out, and it is part of the best fits here in this one. He's going to be wearing pinstripes. I think that he is a perfect Yankee. He is a perfect Yankee. He is a lot of pop, and if you do that, it'll allow you to demote DJ LeMahieu to a bench role or maybe DFA him, move Jazz Chisholm back to second base, and there you go. You have your third baseman. I think Suarez is a Yankee.
No other crazy thing, Nick, is I put these in 2 days ago. I have Eugenio Suarez going to the Yankees.
Love that.
Because what do the Yankees need? What are they in dire need of? A third baseman with pop. I mean that, and they'll create the package enough to do it. So.
And you're not going to need much.
You're not really going to.
No, plus this could be a fringe top 10 prospect in your system can get you Suarez, and maybe a little higher than that. But he's a rental.
The Yankees will have to give up 2 prospects for him.
But maybe they're 8 and they're 10,
something like that. But you also got to keep in mind the Diamondbacks have a good farm system, so I'm not sure they're going to be worried about it. I have them going to the Yankees. So.
Seth Lugo with the Kansas City Royals. This Royals team is struggling right now.
They just lost their 10th straight home game today.
Yeah, they are on an L5. They're 5 games under 500. I was not very high on this Royals team. I thought they overachieved last year. And I think they sell at this deadline. Now Seth Lugo has another year of control after this. So he's not a free agent at the end of this year. It's at the end of next year. I think they trade him. I think Seth Lugo goes, and I think a team that could make sense for him now. The team's not listed under best fits here. I'm just trying to figure out because the next guy we're talking about, I think I can send to this team as well. I'm going to say I think I'm going to give the same prediction for this pitcher and the next pitcher, but I also have another pitcher that I like to go. I think 2 of the 3 of the pitchers I'm going to pick to this team are going to go to this team. Seth Lugo goes back to the New York Mets, and I think he is somebody the Mets can look at being a starter there. So I'm going to say Seth Lugo will be a New York Met.
I have Seth Lugo going to the Mets. That just seems like a classic David Stearns move.
Yeah, why not?
Because he is one of those guys. He's a starting pitcher, which Griffin Canning just went down. We don't know how long that's going to be long for. We've seen the success by him. He throws 17,000 different pitches, and I think that Mets pitching labs can really benefit him. He's got one more year. I said Seth Lugo to the Mets.
Yep.
I will say I'm going to disagree with you on this one, though.
Yeah, because I'm going to have, I think, one of these 2 pitchers go. I don't think both of them go, but I'm going to say Zach Gallen to the New York Mets as well. I think Zach Gallen's a higher likelihood than Seth Lugo, though. Like how I said with when I said Duran that he would either go to San Diego or stay in Boston. Yeah. I think he stays in Arizona, Gallen, which I don't know why they would keep him in Arizona unless they think they can still compete, or he's a New York Met. Zach Gallen there, I think he is one of those reclamation projects because what is he going to sign next year? A prove-it deal, something along the lines of 1 for $25 million, something along those lines next season, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's in Queens. So I'm picking both those 2. I think only one does go. I
have Gallen going to New York.
Yankees.
Okay. That's one that I had locked in for a while. I strongly believe that Gallen is a Yankee if he gets traded. There's also a chance he doesn't get traded, because Gallen's stock is kind of fell. He has not been good this year. Fastball hasn't been working. Breaking pitches have been iffy. So that's just Gallen's one of those guys. I think the Yankees can do a lot with him still. Plus, the Yankees need a good arm in that rotation. Someone to kind of replace Garrett Cole. I think Gallen can kind of do the trick for him.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll keep on going here. This is one I don't know if they trade him. Merrill Kelly, they give him a 30% chance. He's been decent. I think he stays in Arizona. I think they're not going to trade everybody, and I think Merrill Kelly stays in Arizona. I don't have too much of a breakdown on him. I think he stays with the Diamondbacks.
I don't. I have him going to a team that's currently in the wild card picture, a couple games back. But a team that's in the wild card picture in the American League. And it's actually the first one on this list. Give me Toronto. Give me Merrill Kelly to Toronto. I like they need another arm in that rotation. Somebody that's got some good stuff. And I love Merrill Kelly. I've been high on Merrill Kelly all year. He's been awesome. Sign me up for Merrill Kelly to go to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Fair. We'll keep on going to move this along a little bit. Yep. Josh Naylor, first baseman, Arizona Diamondbacks. They give him a 30% chance of getting traded. If he does go, I kind of like that the Seattle shout there. I think San Fran's an interesting one as well. I think I want to save the next guy we'll talk about to a spot that I think needs a first baseman the most. I'm going to say Josh Naylor does get traded. I think he's going to be a San Francisco Giant. I'm going to say Naylor to the Giants.
You know who is in dire need of a first baseman? One that their original starting first baseman is out for the year.
Yeah, and I'm picking the next guy to go there.
Josh Naylor is a Boston Red Sox.
Okay, yep.
That's what I like. I think Naylor's a Boston Red Sox for sure. I like the spot for him. I think they can. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks can get some good back for him. Give me Naylor to the Red Sox.
Yeah, you want to know who actually is going to the Red Sox?
It's not going to be
Ryan O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn.
And I'll tell you why he won't go in a minute.
Now, I know there's one stipulation I know you're going to get at. They're not going to trade him in division.
I agree. Yep.
Here's the thing though is the Orioles are not competing this year.
They're not.
And Ryan O'Hearn, I think, is a free agent at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he can get traded to Boston and sign elsewhere in the offseason, and Baltimore's not going to have to worry about it. I think Ryan O'Hearn is a Boston Red Sox. They are in dire need of a first baseman. I like the lefty because what is the lefties do not have to worry about in Boston? The monster. I think that he'll be a good pull hitter there and be able to hit it over that short fence in right field in Boston. I think that Ryan O'Hearn is meant to be a Boston Red Sox.
Ryan O'Hearn will be going to Space City. I have him going to the Astros. I know it's not in the best fit. I don't care.
Christian Walker still plays there, though.
Well, Ryan O'Hearn's not just a first baseman. He's a DH, and he can play outfield. I don't know about you. I stick Ryan O'Hearn in right field and get Altuve back in the infield.
He isn't back in the infield.
Okay. You get an actual good bat out in the outfield. Either way, outfield or DH, or you can platoon him with Christian Walker at first and switch them back and forth with whatever you need to do. Astros need another bat. I think they're going to go all out, and I think Ryan O'Hearn's going to be on the top of their list.
Yeah, fair. We'll keep going. The Big Bear, Marcelo Ozuna. Giving about 25% chance of leaving the Atlanta Braves, and I don't think he goes anywhere. I think the Atlanta Braves hold on to him. Maybe they look to re-sign him in the offseason. I think he is an Atlanta Brave at the end of the day. And because here's the thing, and this is, and I would love to know, because you shook your head, I'm assuming you have him going elsewhere.
I do.
I would love to know, do they already have their DH spot kind of clogged? Because here's the thing, we could be like, yeah, Marcelo Ozuna could be a Dodger. Otani played DH there. Oh, he can go here. He can go there. There's a lot of spots where the where the DH is where the DH spot is clogged. So I'm going to say he just stays in Atlanta.
Although I will say, since I picked him to go to this team has lost a couple games in a row and is not looking as good. But I'm not going to switch any of my answers because that's not fair to Cam. I had him going to Kansas City because my view on it was Kansas City's got all these good arms. And in terms of bats, they have Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino's been all right. Salvador Perez has been all right. Caglianone's up, but he hasn't done a lot yet. They need a bat. And I feel like now Kansas City needs to have a good end of June and beginning of July in order to do this. I think it's totally reasonable for Marcelo Ozuna to go to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to be in the Braves system just because the Braves have a lot of young guys coming up. And if the Braves continue to lose or continue to struggle, I feel like that's going to be a piece. Even if they're winning, I think the Atlanta Braves can trade them and not have to worry about it. So,
fair. We'll head to the next one here. Yohan Duran. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into a couple relievers, the next three here. Yohan Duran is an absolutely filthy reliever there for the Minnesota Twins. I mean, he can easily be a Dodger. He can easily be a Philly. He can easily go to some of those spots. And it's tough to predict where he'll go because anybody can use bullpen help. I think Dave Dombrowski is going to get on the phone though, and I think Yohan Duran will be a Philadelphia Philly at the end of the deadline here.
Well, you agree with Cam. I have him going to LA. I have him going to the Dodgers. Just a spot that the Dodgers are going to need all the relief arms they can get. I think it's a good spot to go and grab them. Plus, some of these other relievers that we're going to talk about, I don't know if we're going to necessarily see a couple of them leave. So I'm going to have them going to the Dodgers.
All right. And we will get to Emmanuel Clase, but first, quick break. Next up, Emmanuel Clase, relief pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians. This one caught me by surprise. I see him on the list of players. I get it. Relievers are always I think relievers are always tradable within reason. Obviously, You're not going to trade the top echelon guys, but we just talked about Duran. Now we're talking about Emmanuel Clase. Cleveland Guardians. The Tigers are running away with that division right now. They're 9.5 games behind the Tigers for the division, where they're looking at as the wild card, where they're a half game out. I don't think they trade Emmanuel Clase. I'm going to say Clase stays with Cleveland. I'm also a big Cleveland guy, so like I like guard ball, and I believe in this team. I will pick the Cleveland Guard or Emmanuel Clase to stay with the Guardians.
I'll make this one quick. He stays. He's still got, I think, he's got until 2028 with the team. It's going to be difficult to move him, although I could easily see teams giving him a good contract, or a good offer for him. It says teams Dodgers, Philly, Atlanta, Arizona, Texas. No, he's not going anywhere. All three of us said Cleveland, so there you go. I kind of want to go back on what I said for this guy because the more I look at it, I don't like where I am sending him, but
yeah, we have Felix Bautista, another relief pitcher before we get into a different player.
Yep.
Into a few position players in a row. Felix Bautista. He's coming in off of Tommy John surgery. He's looked pretty good so far this year. I believe he has. This is a walk year for him. This is the last year of the contract for him. Yeah, 2020 contract. Yeah, a 2-year deal that ends in 2025. So he will be a rental. I think that I'm trying to remember who I put where because I believe what was the first reliever we talked about?
You had him going to Philly.
I had going to Philly, right? Yeah. Then I'm going to have Bautista going to the Dodgers. Because I think Philly. I think Philly gets one, Dodgers get the other between Bautista and Duran. And I will have Bautista going to the Dodgers here in this spot. You flipped them around.
I had Duran going to the Dodgers. I have Bautista going to the Phillies. The more and more I look at it, I thought Bautista had more on his contract. Do we know whether or not he had an extension or anything?
He signed a 2-year extension in 2024.
Interesting. I thought he had a lot longer on his contract.
Nope.
All right, then I'm okay with it even more. Although I could see it's either Philly for me or he stays in Baltimore and they long-term sign him. Because that's a big part of your bullpen. And if the Orioles are going to want to compete next year, they're going to have to hold on to him. But
he's a free agent.
Or they're going to try to re-sign him, I should say.
Yeah.
I think he goes to Philly.
That's fair. We'll move on to the next one here. We get an outfielder to talk about here. Cedric Mullins, center fielder. He's had a really strong year so far with the Baltimore Orioles. They give him about a 70% chance of getting traded. I think he does get traded.
I think it's 100%.
I think he absolutely gets traded. He's a free agent at the end of the year. He's a 30-year-old, so he's not somebody you're really going to build around. So we got to look what teams need a center fielder. And I think
they're listed in every single center fielder, outfielder in there. And it's 2 teams from the NL East.
Yeah, it's Philadelphia and it's the New York Mets.
Yeah.
I think Cedric Mullins is a New York Met.
That's where I'm going.
And I put out a tweet a couple days ago saying my New York Mets wish list type of thing for a trade deadline. And we've already talked about 2 of them. Zach Allen being one, Cedric Mullins being the other. I don't know. There is another one here that
will be later on. I know you're going to want to talk about.
I have 2 more that are later on that are part of that list. I'm going to say Cedric Mullins will be replacing Tyrone Taylor, and he will be the center fielder of the New York Mets.
I am going to the Mets as well. But honestly, this one's a toss-up. And there's another guy later on the list that I could see both the Mets and Phillies looking after as well. Although I have an interesting take on a guy, so we'll see where that one's going. I have Mullins to the Mets. Mullins will 100% get traded, and I will guarantee he goes to the National League East.
Okay.
I don't see him going to Cleveland. He's either going to be a Met or a Philly.
That's fair.
Because he is 100% getting traded.
All right. We'll move on to the next one here. Ryan McMahon, third baseman for the Colorado Rockies. They give him a 60% chance of getting traded. Now, I already sent Eugenio Suarez to the Yankees, so he's not going to the Yankees here.
I know where he's going.
I'm trying to look at where he's going because he is going somewhere. Like I think he's absolutely going somewhere. But actually, ready? This is the Colorado Rockies we're talking about, and we know how they are at trade deadlines and everything like that. So Ryan McMahon, after the trade deadline, is going to be a Colorado Rocky. They don't trade players away, and really,
Colorado.
They don't trade players away. Here, ready? I'll do this. I'll because that feels like a cop-out answer.
Yeah, put in there. I'm grabbing him staying in Colorado.
Yeah,
you take him to go somewhere.
Okay. I'm gonna then if he is going somewhere, I'm gonna say he stays in Colorado. But if he does get traded, he'll be a Seattle Mariner. I think that he'll go to the.
So I'll put you down for Seattle or Colorado.
Colorado. No, no. You said put him to go somewhere. I said if he does get traded, it is. I think it could be Seattle, but I think that the way the Rockies are run, they're not trading him.
I think if he goes anywhere, even though I had who did I have going to third for third base for the Yankees? I had Eugenio Suarez going there.
Yes, me too.
If he doesn't go there, I could easily see McMahon because you got to think 2 years with $32 million left on it.
Yep.
How many teams are going to want to take that?
Now the question is, how well is he going to hit away from Coors Field?
He has not hit well away from Coors Field.
That's
why I'm saying and they give Yankee, Detroit, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Seattle. The only way he's going to any of these 4 teams is if Colorado eats part of that contract.
Yeah. Because
he is not worth $16 million a year. The Yankees don't give a shit. They'll pay him the $16 million a year.
Yeah.
If he's going anywhere, it's the Yankees. He's staying in Colorado.
Yeah.
This is another one.
Peter Fairbanks. This one's weird because the Tampa Bay Rays are good. Like, this is a team that is currently...
They could possibly, at trade deadline, be in first place in the American League East. They're only a half game back of the Yankees. They're 11 games over 5.
And I have a feeling the way this market is shaping up for the trade deadline, the Rays are going to do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Because they're going to sell high on some players that are either on expiring contracts or heading into more of the expensive arbitration years or things along those lines. And they might buy a little bit as well. I think Peter Fairbanks stays put in Tampa Bay. He has a club option in 2026. I have a feeling if he gets traded, it's in the offseason. I think the Rays do go the most all in the Rays can this year, and I think they hold on to Peter Fairbanks as their closer. So I'm going to say he is a Tampa Bay Ray.
I'm gonna keep him in Tampa, but I'll make the statement: if he goes anywhere, I could see him heading to Atlanta. Atlanta needs bullpen, a lot of it.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think Atlanta's going to be in a position to buy. Notice I haven't sent anybody to Atlanta yet.
I agree.
I'm not going to send anybody to Atlanta.
They're not going to be buyers, but this could be a piece that Atlanta can go, well, he has a club option for 2026 that the club will probably pick up. So you're thinking you're going to get him for 1.5 years. If the Braves think, all right, we're going to compete next year, that could be an interesting piece for the bullpen next year. Not to mention, the Braves can also look at it and go, you know what? How far out are they? 10 games back, but 7 games back for a wild card. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But no, this is, I don't know, it could be an interesting spot.
Yeah. No, I have him staying with the Tampa Bay Rays.
He stays in Tampa, but we'll see.
Next one's an interesting one, Tim.
Yes.
And this is one that I have him getting traded. I think he goes elsewhere. And he is on, a 1-year deal, I believe. Aroldis Chapman, left-handed pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. He still throws really hard, about 100 miles an hour. He's a left-handed reliever. Teams are going to want left-handed relievers. And what team desperately needs a left-handed reliever right now?
Yep, I know where you're going with this.
Aroldis Chapman's going to be a New York Met.
I did not have him going there.
I think that Aroldis Chapman is the replacement for injured AJ Minter.
I can see that.
There's your replacement right now. It's Aroldis Chapman. And I mentioned my tweet that had 4 players that I wanted. Aroldis Chapman was one of them. It was Aroldis Chapman. It was Cedric Mullins. It was Zach Gallen. And we'll talk about the last one in a little bit, which is my number 1 on my list.
Yeah.
which could also be that left-handed reliever role, but I think he'll be better off in the rotation. I have Aroldis Chapman going to the New York Mets.
I don't. Although talks of... See, keep in mind, I put these in on the 24th. When the article came out, me and Cameron talked about it during work and typed it all out. And I'm not switching any of them. If I had it now, I'd probably say, you know what? With all the talks and everything, he's probably going to New York. To the Mets. I had him going to the Houston Astros.
Ooh,
because
that's hilarious. That's so funny.
The Houston, yes, it is. But the Houston Astros need more pitching. They need another bat. Houston Astros are going to go all out this deadline. They're going to sell the farm. Yeah. They're going to try to go for a World Series, knowing that their window is tight because they no longer have Bregman. They no longer have Tucker. This is a team that has Altuve has aging. Alvarez can't stay healthy. Pena's coming up. He looks great. Cam Smith looks awesome. Framber Valdez looks great, but he's not going to be there too much longer. Hunter Brown's going to be the face of that franchise. But like they know that window is tightening. They need that extra closer. Aroldis Chapman has playoff experience. I could see him going to the Houston Astros.
Love that. Love that shout. Even though their bullpen's pretty good, the Astros, but yeah, I could definitely see them adding it. I think there's other spots the Astros need more. Though.
I agree, but I could see the Astros going after him, even though they're not listed here.
Yeah, they're not. But
ready for this one?
Yeah, we have Luis Robert, somebody who has been rumored to be traded for how many years now?
A bunch.
And I think this year is probably that year that he does get traded. I think I know exactly where he's going. Luis Robert Jr. will be heading to Philadelphia. I think he's a Philly at the end of this year. And I think the Phillies desperately need a center fielder. I think they get Luis Robert. The Mets get Cedric Mullins as like them trying to fight against each other during the trade deadline, which I think will lead to both those teams being a little bit more aggressive. Hence why I've picked the Mets to grab a bunch of players. Yeah. And I know at least one more I'm going to pick for the Mets. Yeah. And then there's probably at least one or two more that are going to go to the Philadelphia Phillies. But I think Luis Robert at the end of the day is heading to Philadelphia, and he will be a Philly.
Ready for this one? Luis Robert will be a Chicago White Sox. He ain't going nowhere.
Wow. That's hilarious.
He has been dog shit this year. My God.
He's a change of scenery.
I know. But who's going to want to pick up a $20 million contract for somebody who's hitting $185 this year and striking out at like 40%?
Okay, but if you're the Chicago White Sox, would you rather get literally anything for Luis Robert or decline his club option next year and get nothing?
What do you think you're going to get for him? Besides the fact of them trading him away for a prospect, I don't see the White Sox getting anything for him. I don't think anybody wants him.
Better than nothing.
I don't think anybody wants him.
Okay, you eat half the contract, you'll get a better prospect.
Maybe. But I'm going to make the bold take. He stays in the South Side. And he's going to fucking hate it.
I think there is a team that's going to see the potential of Luis Robert.
Probably. I'm just making the bold take there.
Also, how much does he care playing in Chicago right now? He doesn't. That can explain why his numbers are so bad.
Correct. But I'm going to say he stays in Chicago. 90% of trade, he stays there.
Okay, fair. We'll go to another one here. Another outfielder, Taylor Ward. I feel like he's somebody we've been talking about getting traded the last couple of years. They give him about a 45% chance of being traded here from the Angels. The Angels currently 40-40. They're a game out of a wild card spot.
That's insane.
So you know what that means? He ain't going nowhere. He's going to stay at Los Angeles Angel.
Yep.
And Taylor Ward, Manation, if he thinks that unless heading into the trade deadline they lose 10 in a row or something like that and they fall like 8 games out, they ain't selling. They ain't selling. Well, we all know this. The Angels are one of the worst run franchises in baseball, and they're not going to sell even though they probably should, because even if you do squeak into a wild card, are you beating the Yankees in the playoffs? Are you beating the Astros in the playoffs?
No.
Are you beating the Tigers in the playoffs?
No.
Are you even beating a team like Tampa Bay in a wild card series? Okay. They should absolutely sell the Angels. And that being said, they won't. Taylor Ward will be an Angel at the end of the deadline.
That being said, if the Angels make the playoffs, that's playoff revenue for the owners, and even if they just play 3 games, that's playoff revenue. So they're not going to. I have them staying. I had him staying in the Angels system. I don't see him going anywhere. And once again, you mentioned it. They're only a game back. I will say, if he goes anywhere, that seems like a San Diego spot. That seems like a player that can go to San Diego.
Ooh.
That seems like a player that can go to Seattle. That seems like a San Fran guy. Like, he's not going to go to a big market. But I have him staying in where do you call it? In Angels.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you there. Him staying with the Angels.
This next one should be pretty quick.
Nolan Arenado, third baseman for the St. Louis Cardinals. They give him about a 30% chance of getting traded. The Cardinals right now, they have slowed down a little bit. They're a game out of the wild card. But that being said, they're definitely better than we expected them to be. Here's the thing. I think the Cardinals can try to trade him all he wants. But is he going anywhere?
Nope.
I'm going to say yes. Ready?
Oh.
Ready for this? Nolan Arenado will be an LA Angel. They will trade him to the Angels. And
why?
Because as we mentioned in the last in that last player with Taylor Ward, they're not selling. So you know what that means? They're gonna buy, and they're gonna make a splash, and it's gonna be Nolan Arenado. They're gonna trade for Nolan Arenado. He will be an LA Angel. I just want to go a little crazy there.
That's very interesting. Okay. All right, that one I have him as staying in St. Louis. I don't have him going anywhere. Keep in mind he has a no trade thing with like half the teams in the MLB.
Yeah, the Angels are not one of them.
Why?
Because he's from California, I believe.
Okay, that makes sense. He doesn't go anywhere. This one should be quick.
Luis Severino, starting pitcher for the Athletics, who I believe just started construction in Las Vegas. They're going to be opening up their stadium in 2028. Just something to keep in mind there.
So after his contract's over.
Yeah. Give him a 40% chance of getting traded. I think he's a Chicago Cub. I think that's somebody that they can go out there if they want depth. I think Toronto is another good option as well. Keep in mind, he does have 2 more years of control after this because he signed a 3-year deal. I think that...
Who the hell wants to pay 2 years, $47 million for Severino?
I do. I would. And I know others would because you know what his issue is right now? Pitching in Sacramento. Luis Severino has been a great pitcher this year, just on the road, not at home. I think he will be a Chicago Cub. I think that he is somebody, he'll be the 4 or 5 starter for the Cubs, and they're going to acquire him.
All right, it says 40% chance of trade, Nick. Take that 4 and make it a 0.
Really?
I think he stays. I don't think anybody wants his contract. I think the only way somebody grabs his contract, it's this team right here, because they know what to do with him.
That's also another starting pitcher that the Mets can add as depth. But
I have staying in Oakland,
especially not knowing what Canning's future looks like, especially not knowing what Manaea, who was just shut down again. I
just don't see him going anywhere.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I'm going to pick him on the Cubs, but I could definitely see him staying in Oakland.
Hell's bells.
And this is another. See, the Cardinals are a tricky team. They give Helsley about a 30% chance. I don't see the Cardinals doing much this year. And I know absolutely people are going to be looking for arguably one of the top 5 closers in baseball over the last couple of years in Ryan Helsley. And I think this is a spot where he does get traded. I think he does get traded. And I think he goes to the best team in the American League right now. I think Ryan Helsley will be a Detroit Tiger. I think that this is somebody who could solidify that bullpen for some more bullpen chaos in October. And I think the Tigers are going to be a little bit aggressive this year, looking for a reliever. And I think that Ryan Helsley could be that guy.
I will say me and Cameron agreed on this one. And the funny thing is, under best fits, the team's not there. We wanted to find a team that normally tries to go after some players, has a little bit of a difficult time.
You're going to say the Giants.
No. Normally has a difficult time trying to get star players to come to their team. So they have to do it by trade. And I think they trade and extend. I think he goes over the border. Give me him going to Toronto. Toronto needs some bullpen arms because their bullpen has not been great, especially look at their closer, Romano. Hell's Bells comes in.
Even though Jordan Romano's in Philadelphia?
Shit, he is in Philadelphia.
It's Hoffman. Hoffman's been okay.
Oops, that I did not mean that then. There was no, sorry.
Romano has been bad this year. I can understand.
Yeah, no. Sorry, I forgot that he was on the Phillies. Because he wasn't good with Toronto last year either. But Toronto's bullpen has not been great. And Toronto is currently a wild card team. And they could fight for the division. They need some pitching. They need some bullpen. So go ahead, sign me up for Ryan Hesley to go to the Toronto Blue Jays.
I like that a lot. All right, to the next one here. We will scroll down. It is Tyler Mahle, Texas Rangers. They give him a 30% chance. He's been awesome this year. Low twos ERA for the Texas Rangers. He's been really, really solid for a team that I don't see going anywhere. The Texas Rangers are a game under 500. They're a game and a half out of the playoffs, though. So I feel like this is one of those where keep an eye on it to see where it goes. But who needs starting pitching if you're looking at that? I mean, I feel like you can throw most starting pitchers at the Chicago Cubs and they'll probably take them. But for me, it's tough to try to decide where Tyler Mahle is going here because I could see the Rangers hold on to some players, but I feel like he could definitely be one of those that is traded out of the rotation for the Rangers. And the question is, when does he get healthy? Because he's currently on the IL right now with right shoulder fatigue. I think that this is definitely one where it's a big question mark for me, with it being a big question mark on whether or not he gets traded. I'm going to just say he stays with the Texas Rangers at the moment. And if it does come back and healthy, then my answer would probably change. But I don't know, so I'm just going to say Texas Rangers.
This is the pitcher I had going to the Mets. And I know that we've mentioned a couple of players going to the Mets and everything. I think they're going to be aggressive. They need starting pitching. I believe this is one of two pitchers I had going to the Mets because I also had Lugo going to the Mets. I just think this is a David Stearns move. He's got good stuff, and the Mets need starting pitching. So I feel like Tyler Mahle to the Mets.
Fair. I obviously have other pitchers going to the Mets, so we'll see. But we'll move on to another pitcher that's going to be a free agent at the end of the year that I think for sure gets traded because, I mean, I don't see a reason for the Orioles to hold on to him.
Correct.
Zach Eflin.
Yep.
And he's thrown to a mid-threes. I feel like this is somebody who is just looking to pick up some depth. If you're looking at starters on your rotation, looking for some starter depth. I mean, I feel like I'm not picking him to go there, but I feel like he can fit what the Mets need. I think the Cubs as well. I think the Dodgers could be somebody interested in Zach Eflin. I think the Padres are an interesting one there too. I see that on the best sides. I'm gonna go with San Diego. I think that they're gonna need to make a move because we don't know what Musgrove looks like. We don't know what Yu Darvish looks like. We don't know what Michael King looks like. I think if the Padres want to be competitive, they're gonna have to get some starter depth. I think the Padres will definitely be looking at someone like Zach Eflin.
And the Padres are only a half game ahead of the Giants for a wild card spot.
Yep.
I have him going to an American League team though.
Okay.
And I have him going to the current number 1 American League team.
Ooh.
I feel like that could be a nice piece for the Tigers rotation. I feel like the Tigers can do a lot with him. And this can kind of be a piece that the Tigers could try to trade for him a little bit early. If it doesn't work out, they go out and get another pitcher. But I like Eflin to the Tigers.
That's an interesting look. Yeah, I think for sure. I think out of everybody on this list, he should be the highest in percent chance to get traded.
He should be 100%.
He should be. He's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this one's going to be
a coolers. Would it shock you if Philadelphia goes out and gets Adolis Garcia along with Luis Robert? That wouldn't shock me whatsoever. I could definitely see something along those lines. And I want to pick him to go with the Philadelphia Phillies. I don't think he's going to cost as much as people think he will. And I think that he is somebody that can fit in well in that outfield for Philadelphia. And you look at his advanced metrics, I definitely think Adolis Garcia is getting a little unlucky this year. And he's somebody
17th most unlucky.
Yeah, I see that on the article there. And I think that he can go to a hitters-friendly ballpark like Citizens Bank Park and really be able to thrive there. So I think that he could be a Philadelphia Philly for me.
I don't have him going anywhere. It's just I just don't see it. I don't see the Texas Rangers wanting to move him. It doesn't make sense to me. Yes, he hasn't been great this year, but this is still a big bat in your lineup. I just don't see them trading him. So I'm going to be quick with this one. I have him staying in Texas.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though, is he is in a contract year right now. And I think one thing that can make him very valuable is that he only signed a 2-year, $14 million deal back in 2024 to avoid arbitration. So he's somebody who is very, very affordable at the deadline as well, which I think will make him a little bit more valuable as well.
Maybe. All right, Nick, I know you wanted to talk about
Yes. Reed Detmers, relief pitcher. He's a starter, people, for the LA Angels. It is really, really annoying to see him in the bullpen right now for the Angels. I think that's wasted potential.
Although he's looked a lot better in the bullpen.
Yeah. No, this is my number one. I want him for the New York Mets. And he definitely has that feel of a reclamation project that David Stearns would absolutely love. Gives you some rotation depth with all the injuries going down. And if he doesn't look good there, you could throw him as a long reliever in the bullpen, kind of like a left-handed Jose Buto. Like, he is somebody who fits what the Mets are trying to do really, really well. And this is my number one as a Mets fan. I want Reed Detmers on this team. I want him out of Anaheim. So maybe this is more of a want than a think. Reed Detmers is a New York Met. He is meant to be a New York Met, and I think he will get traded. And I think that it is a player the Mets are very interested in.
He's either going to be a Met or he's going to be a Baltimore Oriole. And the only reason why I mentioned Baltimore is he's got, I believe Detmer's got a couple more years of arbitration. So it's a cheap guy that they can work with that could be a good pitcher going into next year. I do have him going to the Mets. Even though it says 15% trade. This one's got David Stearns written all over it.
Absolutely it does.
So Reed Detmers for the Mets.
Love that. That's one of my favorite picks on this whole video.
And we got 2 left.
2 left.
Oh, 3 left.
Yep, 3 left, yeah. Walker Buehler, starting pitchers, Boston Red Sox. I think he stays. I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he is on a 1-year deal. So I understand why they have him on this list, and I understand why he's so low on this list. Is because I don't think he gets moved. And I think the Red Sox hold on to him because what do the Red Sox need right now is rotation help. Like, I think the Red Sox are more likely to add rotation help than subtract from it. And I think this is somebody that they got to hold on to in Walker Buehler, and I think he stays a Boston Red Sox.
I believe that these teams down here don't even talk to them. He's either going to be Boston or he's going back to the Dodgers.
Here's the thing, though, is the Dodgers didn't want him. They purposely did not give him a QO.
That being said, if the Dodgers can get him for cheap, they could do it. And throw a low-level prospect at Boston and go, here, take it. And we'll take Buehler back. I am going to the Dodgers, although that's more of a if he gets traded.
If he gets traded, yeah, it's probably
the Dodgers or nothing.
But, like, I don't see him getting traded. I don't.
We got 2 left now.
Nick Martinez for the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds are a tricky team. And obviously, we know Nick Martinez was the only player last year to receive and accept a qualifying offer. So that was something that was kind of interesting there. And I 100% agree with him taking the qualifying offer because I don't think he would have gotten a long-term contract anywhere. I do think I'm trying to think whether or not he'll get moved. Right now, the Cincinnati Reds are 2.5 games out of a wild card spot. They're playing better baseball as of late. I think this is a Reds team that can compete, but do they need Nick Martinez to do so? I like the rotation depth for Nick Martinez, and the question is whether or not a team would want to take on what would be $10 million for the second half of the year, which I think that's not terrible. And he is older. I'm going to say he stays with the Reds, but if he goes anywhere, it feels like he's meant to be a Blue Jay.
I'm going to say that he stays with the Reds, and the only reason why I'm going to say he stays with the Reds is nobody wants to pick up that money. Because the way he's pitching, he's not worth what it'll be the rest of the year, so like 11 million, 12 million, something like that.
Do the Reds eat a little bit of that money to get a better
That's the only way that they can really get him gone, and I don't see them doing that. So I'm going to have him staying in Cincinnati. Plus, Cincinnati's still in the run of it. They're not too far out. They're 2.5 games back of a wild card spot. Honestly, the wild card looks fun right now.
It does. It absolutely does.
But then we go to the last team.
Yeah, and I think that I think this is a guy that gets moved at the deadline. Eric Fetty, starting pitcher, St. Louis Cardinals. Just where? And for me, I think you can make this prediction for either Nick Martinez or Eric Fetty, and you'll be right on one of them. I think one of them can go to the Toronto Blue Jays. I think it's Eric Fetty. I'm going to say Eric Fetty is a Blue Jay at the end of the year, at the end of the deadline, and I think that's kind of where they move him. I think it's either going to be Martinez or Fetty as a starter that they're going to look at there north of the border, and I think it's Fetty.
It's San Diego. This one has San Diego written all over it. They need some rotational help, and I could definitely see Fetty being one of those guys that they kind of like. They can get him for not a bad price because keep in mind the San Diego Padres are not looking at crazy, like they're not trying to build a salary cap, like how much they have to pay their players. They're trying to lower their payroll, not increase it. That's why I think the Padres could possibly make a big splashy trade to get rid of some money. And I'll real quickly say Padres will get Eric Fetty. I want to make one comment on a player that let's go one big player before we end the video. One big player that nobody expects to get traded that could get traded.
Ooh. I'll let you go first when I think about this.
I know I've mentioned this before. I think San Diego is going to trade somebody to dump some money. And honestly, I think that they're going to get the best return that they'll ever get if they decide to try to dump Manny Machado. Or Fernando Tatis Jr. I feel like one of them could possibly be up in the air if somebody offers them something crazy. I'm not saying that they're getting traded. We're not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. But I feel like the Padres were only a half game up on the wild card, which you look at the Padres. It's same deal with I kind of want to do the same deal as the Angels. Kind of thinking of it. Are the Padres beating the Dodgers in the playoffs?
No.
Are the Padres beating the Cubs?
No.
Are they beating the Mets?
No.
Are they beating the Phillies?
No.
Are they beating the Brewers?
Maybe.
Are they beating the Giants?
Yes.
Okay. There you go. They're beating wild card teams. That's my point. So I could easily see the Padres kind of dumping somebody.
Yeah. I'm going to go Carlos Correa from the Minnesota Twins. I think that he could be somebody who's on the move at the deadline.
I think there's a better option on the Twins.
Do you think Buxton?
I think Buxton's definitely movable.
All right. And then I want to be a little bit funny with this one here with Carlos Correa.
To the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, because they kind of need a shortstop. They can put Mookie Betts back in the outfield. They can allow Tommy Edman to be that utility bat. And how hilarious would it be that the leader of the 2017 Houston Astros is a Dodger? I think that'd be hilarious.
That's hilarious. I love it.
But yeah, that would be my pick. Would be Carlos Correa to the Dodgers.
There you go. All right, Nick, I'll let you finish this one out.
Yeah, I wanted to do one more question as well.
Go ahead.
Look at 31 through 50. Is there any of them that jump out to you that be like, yes, that guy's going to get traded, and where do you think he'll go?
We'll do, what, one each?
Yeah, we could do one each. And I'm trying to look through them to see.
There we go.
Because there's a couple really interesting ones here. To see Reese Hoskins' name on that list is kind of interesting.
He doesn't have much value. He'd have to be attached to somebody.
Yeah. I think Kyle Finnegan's very interesting, closer of the Washington Nationals. I do not see them competing anytime in the next couple of years.
I don't know about that.
I still think they're a young, but they're still a rebuilding team. I think that he's going to go somewhere that needs some bullpen help. I think Kyle Finnegan, as my bonus pick, will be a Chicago Cub.
I think Michael Soroka gets traded.
I have a feeling Michael Soroka will be one of those guys that gets traded to the deadline. We'll look at him like the Nationals got what for him type of player. Like he's gonna get a better package back than people expect.
You know what? And I think I only mentioned this team for one player, and it was a player returning to that team. Michael Soroka will be a Tampa Bay Ray.
Ooh.
There you go. There's my bold take. Michael Soroka to the Rays.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all.
All right.
But yeah, I just want to throw that in there as well as a something to look at there with the 31 through 50. But that's it. Let us know in the comment section below, where do you have some of these free agents going? Are we crazy to pick some teams?
Yes.
Are we correct? Are we incorrect on a bunch of them? My guess, we're probably wrong on most.
I will say, I have them all tracked. We will do a recap video on this after the deadline to see how many we got right.
All right, cool. But that is going to do it for this one. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, turn on those post notifications so you guys are notified each and every time we are live, or not live here, each and every time we post at Talking Baseball with the Earle brothers. But that's going to do it. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.